Hi, I'm Jackie Partridge from Jackie Partridge Art. We will be painting some landscape paintings from the region of Waterloo. I would like to acknowledge the financial support of the Region of Waterloo Arts Fund for helping to support this series of painting tutorials. Be sure to like these videos and to subscribe to my channel. You can hit the little bell beside the subscribe button to receive notifications for when new painting tutorials come out. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jackie Partridge Art, and if you paint one of my tutorials, you can use the hashtag Jackie Partridge Art Classes and tag me at Jackie Partridge Art. I'd love to see what you create. Enjoy the videos and be sure to subscribe. All right, today we will be painting a farm field outside of Wellesley. So the colors that we need are cadmium yellow, cadmium red, titanium white, cobalt blue. I have chromoxide green, or you can mix your own green with yellow and blue, and I have Mars black. So we're going to start by painting the sky. I'm using a 1-inch flat brush. This is a number 10, just to cover our background. So I'm going to get some titanium white and mix that with a little bit of cobalt blue so that I can make a nice soft blue for our sky. This is at sunset, so we have a bit of a lighter sky. So I'm just doing long sweeping strokes to make my background nice and smooth. And we're going to do a couple coats of paint, so don't worry about it looking perfect. And you can go ahead and paint the edges of your canvas as well. Because when your canvas is hanging on the wall, you're going to be able to see those edges. Okay. We're going to paint a little bit more with our light blue. And don't forget to do the edges as well. Okay, so the next color that we're going to introduce is our cadmium yellow. And again, I'm just going to add a bit of titanium white to it. You can just blend it over top. Paint the edges. Then we're going to mix a little bit of red with the yellow and white that we mixed, and blend that, layer it on top. Paint the edges. So then we're going to get some titanium white and cadmium red and mix that together to make a nice pink. And you can layer that on top. Use your nice long sweeping brush strokes. carry some of that color over on the edge. So I've painted about 2/3 of my canvas of sky, and my canvas is 12 inches by 16 inches. So if you wanted to do a smaller canvas or paint on watercolor paper, that is completely fine. So this 1/3 of the canvas, this is going to be our grass, our cornfield, and our trail. So we're gonna do a base coat of that, and then we can paint another coat for everything and add our final details on top. So I'm going to take my green and I'm just going to kind of draw out the trail. So it's wider in the foreground and more narrow towards the background because that's the perspective of looking at it. So you can draw this line with chalk or a pencil, but if you want to use paint like me, that's fine because you can always paint over it. It's not a big deal. Now we're not just going to leave this solid green. This is just simply a base coat so that our canvas is nice and covered. So don't worry about it looking perfect. And then paint the edge as well. So now we're going to paint our trail with a nice light brown, and then we'll leave everything to dry and paint our details afterwards. So to make our brown, I'm going to add some yellow, a little bit of red, and some green. A bit more red in there. And then some white. So when I kind of hold the brush vertically like this, I can drag the bristles to make a nice smooth line. Okay, so now we're going to let everything dry for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then we can do our second coat. Okay, so we're going to start by painting another layer of paint on our sky. So I've got a little bit of blue with our white. Mix that together. My brush is a bit dirty, but that's okay. Just going to cover up some more of this yellow with the blue. You can let some of the yellow show through. I'm just kind of painting a light coat of blue over top of the pink and the yellow, just to kind of better blend everything in together. You can add a bit of water. So the water just helps blend everything together so that it's smooth. You don't need to add too much water though. So now that the paint is still a bit wet on the sky, we're going to go ahead and add our clouds. So I'm using a number 6 round brush. I'm taking some titanium white, and these clouds are very light and feathery, so I'm just very lightly kind of dabbing. And I don't have a ton of paint on my brush. Kind of doing little tiny strokes over top of one another. The reason I want the paint a little bit wet for this is so that the clouds can kind of blend into the sky, because they're very kind of soft and wispy clouds in this picture. Then you can just kind of take a dry brush and just kind of feather the edges, kind of blend it in a bit more. This is a smaller detail brush, a round brush. This is a number 2. I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow with red for my sun. And then just add a tiny bit of white as well. More white in there. Just adding some highlights of yellow. Adding a bit of white to the yellow. I'm going to add a bit more red and some white. Use your dry brush, kind of blend that into the sky. Now for the gray, you can get a bit of Mars black, titanium white, some cobalt blue, mix it together. Add a little bit of your pink in there. Then we can add that in some of the clouds. A very dry brush, not a lot of paint or water on it. And let some of the sky kind of show through parts of the cloud as well. Now we're going to add a little bit more white by the gray just to blend it in better. So dab some of that off so that you have a dry brush. Clouds are all about layers, having some highlights and some shadows. Kind of rub your brush on the canvas to blend it and create a nice soft texture. Don't worry about your clouds being too perfect. You want them to kind of look different, be different sizes, and be spread out differently. Kind of swirl your brush like this. The ones kind of closer to the sun are going to have a little bit more yellow in them. Good to have different colors of grays and whites in your clouds so that they're just not all the same color. You can always dab some paint off. Kind of spread it around with your rag. Get a little bit of white on our sun. And if you want in your painting to add less clouds or more clouds, you can just go ahead and do that. You don't need to copy the photograph or my painting. If you want to change things, you can. Okay, so when you're happy with your clouds, you can stop, but they are very fun to paint. Okay, so now we're going to mix some of our green with our black, and I will link my mixing greens tutorial in this video description to help you. So about here we have our corn and some more over here. And just start pinning some lines up. Don't worry about it being perfect, we're just going to build layers. Carry that over the edge. So then you can take some yellow to that dark green that you mixed and mix in some yellow. And you can add some to the grass down here. Keep these lines a bit shorter. Paint the edge. Get a bit of blue, mix it with your green. Let some kind of stick up past the horizon line so that it's not flat. Add some in the grass and painting in a horizontal direction so that the corn stands out more. Then you can mix a little bit of red with your green. Do the same thing. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. This is just a fine kind of detail brush so that I can get some smaller lines. Okay. Add a little bit more yellow. Do the same thing. I can do little short sections of yellow for the horn. Kind of near the top. Add some red, mix some brown. So it's in the background a bit, so you're not going to be able to see a lot of the details like the leaves and things like that. Can add a bit of black with our green and just paint some kind of shadows. Some shadows on the grass. I'm going to add a bit of white. And I can kind of make a shadow along the edge of our path here. And then I can just add some more different grays and browns, kind of layer it. It's going to be a bit lighter in the foreground. Mix some more brown. You can add kind of little specks for the gravel. Yellow. It's good to just have a variety of some different browns and grays. We're just using little short brush strokes, kind of dabbing the canvas. And then further away they can be a bit further apart, and up close they can be kind of closer together. Add a bit of red, Do the same thing. Just kind of random. I'm not really worried about what the picture looks like. I'm just kind of interpreting it in my own way. Going nice and fast to get the abstract look here. Some more of our gray. So now I can kind of finish off with my grass. Add some yellow to green. Add some brighter colors in the foreground here. Some can be sticking over the side of the path. And I'm just going kind of quickly in all kinds of different directions. Can add some more green. Top. And I can add a little bit of red next to just dull the green down. And then I can add some blue because it's further in the distance. I can add some green on top. Add a bit of yellow, blend it in. It's just good to add different colors of green, and that's why I'm going to link my mixing green video, just to create some variety and interest, because it would be very boring if we just had the same green all over the place. We can have some bits of the green kind of over the path, like that. Some brown. I'm kind of doing different zigzags and crosses in the front, and then kind of horizontal in the back, in the middle, and then vertical kind of up and down like this. Add a bit of gray, some black to our green. Adding a bit more black, some water on my brush. Some black for the shadows kind of in the distance here. And just blend a bit of green over top. All right, so there we go, our cornfield at sunset. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe so you can see other videos that I produce. If you do this painting, I'd love if you shared it on social media. You can use the hashtag Jackie Partridge Art Classes and tag me at Jackie Partridge Art. So be sure to like and subscribe. Happy painting!